Hey, are you construction champions? It is another great week, and we have another great guest here. I have Chris from BluePagesPro with me. I'm super excited for what he has to share with you guys and everything he has going on. Chris, how's it going today?
I'm good, brother. Hold on. Let me get my scripts up. Okay. I've got all my talking points. And hey, everything is great. Things are good. Life is fantastic. There we go.
There we I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, at least you came prepared for us
Yeah.
today. And I know, like I say on here all the time, you're going to bring the fire that everybody wants to hear. But before we get into that, why don't you read me that bio that you have sitting right in front of you and let everybody know who you are and what you do?
Dude, I actually think somebody from your office sent one over. So you've got one that I typed up. It's super freaking professional. I'll give you the Friday afternoon podcast version instead.
That's what I
Uh,
want.
Man, I'm just a regular dude. Just turned 53. Started roofing when I was 19. Been in contractor financing for over 26 years. Started building a software company 4 years ago, and I'm still in the finance business. And dude, they just can't take it out of me, man. I love the trades. I love all the home improvement stuff. I love helping contractors. Dude, I'm just here to help and serve, man. That's really it. Just a down to earth, honest, have tons of integrity, and love helping people in the industry and the trades, man.
Yeah, and I know that I see that all the time on Facebook. You're really you're a gift to the industry, really. I mean, you're willing to put that knowledge out there and help people. So
Only thing we
what
can
a,
do, man. I mean, like it's like the only thing you should do is help people. I don't know. It's like we started building a software company, and I've got a project developer out in California. And about 2 years ago, I said, dude, we're going to partner with the best people in the industry. Like we partnered with you, you know? And I said, we're going to partner with the best people. He's like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I said, because third party validation and helping other people will only help us on the long term plan. So nobody gets is no not a get rich quick thing, man. It's all of us collaboratively working together as an industry to help these contractors scale, win, close more jobs, connect with more relationships, keep more relationships, have better like your software, right? Have better communication between the project and the human being, right? The only way we're all going to win is winning together, man. So that's what we focused on, and it really freaking works.
you're giving me chills, man, because I mean that's what it's about. Is I just come into your other and how do we I mean what's amazing is like you're from the industry and you're building stuff for the industry. And there's so much of that starting to happen. And that is so positive. I mean, we're going to take big tech out of the equation. We're just going to make this a world where we're just a bunch of people from the industry that build exactly what we needed and we utilize it and we do it together in a way that works. And it's not a get rich quick thing or anything. This is about having an impact and creating a lasting change in the industry. And I know when we had our first call and we were talking, I mean, that's where we came together on is that vision. And we understood that mindset of that is what we truly want to do is have that impact. And then we know by having that impact, everybody's going to be taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, the finance company that I'm senior vice president for in home improvement industry, the founders, there's three brothers, and they came from the industry, air conditioning, security, a whole bunch of different things, but they had a large national HVAC chain. And then they sold that. And they were I think the brothers were kind of sitting around looking at each other going, well, hell, what do you want to do now? And they're like, well, let's get into the home improvement financing. And that's how they built the finance entity, which is interesting because you just said it, Ron. You said, we're from the industry, helping the industry, right? So here's these three brothers that developed this massive HVAC business and said, hey, let's get into home improvement financing. So they did that. And I mean, they're super successful. They just sold the company and they're still on with it to the bank, but they sold it for like 2.4 billion last year. they've sold it 3 or 4 times already, and they're still part of it. So, dude, they came from the industry and got into the financing, and they're like the pinnacle in the home improvement space because they know. Here's the secret sauce. They knew what would happen at the freaking kitchen table, and they removed the friction from it. So by having the ability to know what takes place in a home and in a demo and how the project's sold and the 10 to 12 step programs, so when you knock on the door, put the booties on and come in and sit at the kitchen table and offer them affordability and payment options, they knew about that. So then you put them up against a finance tech company where the kid just comes out of college, has got a great idea to become a finance company. Dude, you can't compete against 3 guys that fucking busted their knuckles installing air conditioners for fucking 15 years. They're going to kick your ass. And that's exactly what happens, man. They've stayed long, steady in the industry, still in the industry. They know how to sell at the table. And that's why they have real conversations with contractors on help their business grow when it comes to financing. So that's the real deal.
That's
all right. Good podcast, man. Have a good one.
No, hey, that was the truth. We could end it right now. Because that's really, I mean, that's who it's on us as industry experts to go out there and create the change. We can't rely on people from the outside like we have in the past to come in and try to bring in the technology, bring in the stuff that's going to move the industry forward because they've never put the boots on. They've never been on the job site. They don't know what that customer interaction's like.
They don't even know what a shoulder season is,
man.
man. They don't even know what a shoulder season is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of tech companies are laying off, right? Like, I'm sure you and I are like, fuck, let's go all in. I tell my wife every night, I'm like, because I know what's going on Wall Street. I got my finger on the trigger, man. I'm on the executive team over here. I know what's happening on Wall Street right now. And my wife and I talk about it at night. And I'm like this. She's like, what? I said, oh, fucking bunch of layoffs in the tech world. Hundreds of thousands of people are out of jobs. She's like, why are you going like this? I said, we're going to find some top talent right now. And we're going to go all in on our software company because people are going to be backing off being scared. She's like, okay, so that's when people scale or that's when people fail. When times get tough,
man. You got to lean into it, and you're seeing a lot of that in residential construction where companies are having the opportunity to lean into it while other people pull back. This stuff just doesn't happen on Wall Street. You have that choice every day in whatever trades business you're in, whether you're a roofer or builder, if you're doing renovations or additions, you have the choice every day to lean into this and expand or contract. And we know the winners are going to be the ones that lean into it and expand. So, Chris, I'm going to ask you the $1 million question here.
Oh, shit.
What is a construction champion to you, and what does it take to be one in 2023?
Dude, I think that it's a champion. Like, dude, I meet so many of them. And I think when you say a champion, let me just say a well-rounded contractor is someone they've got culture, they've got vision, they have a mission statement, they have great employees, and then they're living by it. Like, there's a bunch of guys that could get up on stage and say, hey, I did this year, right? A top producer can say, hey, I did X this year, and get up there and be a piece of shit and work for a piece of shit boss. However, when you say a champion to me is the owner of a business, the leaders of a business that have vision, core values, mission statement, goals, and they're not just doing it in business, they're doing it in life. Let me shout out on a couple just that pop into my head. Like, there's an air conditioning company up in Albany called Grasshopper. They live it. They're champions because the top of the food chain, the CEO down, is just all about culture and vision and their mission and their purpose. And it bleeds out of her into all of her employees. So all of her employees start believing in the culture and in the mission and the values, and then before you know it, you got a bunch of fucking champions. You don't have one awesome fucking leader that makes all the money. You got a bunch of people that believe in the cause and believe in the goal and believe in the target. And it ain't about money. They show up because they believe in the core values that the CEO has established. That's a true champion. If you can come in and be the leader that establishes that within your business and get everybody that works with you, dotted lines, everyone works together. It's nobody's no hierarchy. Everyone is working in the common growth area. You're going to have an unstoppable machine of a company, period.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And what would you say is the whole, why don't we see that everywhere? Because I mean, in the industry, you're talking a lot of the best people you will ever meet are within in the construction industry. But we do see a culture of where there's that separation between the employees and the ownership and this greed lever. And you hear all too often on a job site that, he can afford if, we use 2 more extra nails on each shingle or whatever. Like you hear like, why do we not have the culture that they have at Grasshopper? You said Grasshopper, correct? Why isn't that just the industry standards?
The 80-20 rule, man. Think about how difficult it is to be a great leader. All right. So, you can buy a book, you can buy your way into business, you can start a business, you can have an LLC, you can open up a bank account, you can have all the little things that you need to do to operate a business, you can hire people, and you can run a business, and it might be successful. However, if you don't have a good leadership, you're not going to be that champion that you just asked me about, right? So there are groups, and I'm not going to name them all because I'm agnostic. I work with all of them out there. I just wanted to bring one in today's conversation. Why aren't they all? Dude, it's the 80-20 rule, man. Some people were meant to be business owners, and some people were meant to be leaders. Another gentleman that's got a great business, and he follows the rocket fuel. Why am I not thinking about this concept?
Traction. Gino Wick.
Yeah, he follows that whole principle, and he's hired this guy that's just the integrator because he's a visionary. So by him bringing such a great integrator into his company, right? He stepped out from his business. Now, I'm not saying that he ain't a great leader. He wants to go and explore and do all this shit over here, which he's really cool and good at. But he's hired the right guy now over here to be the integrator of the business that everyone's believing and working together in that core. And then he, as the visionary, will come in and stop and plop and have good team meetings and build it all back. So I don't know if every business is built to be champion based, man. It's the 80-20 rule. But I think that without having those structures and those philosophies and the 80-20 rule and having a core value and the mission statement and the goals and all that stuff, not everyone's going to be a champion. Look at football. If you follow football, which you do, I see you got footballs behind you. Not everyone's going to the fucking Super Bowl, bro.
Yeah, no.
2 teams at the end of the year are going to the Super Bowl, and they're going to the Super Bowl for a reason. And then there's probably 2 teams on the bottom. So if you ran a paradox and looked at that, I don't know, maybe you'd want to look at the ownership and the leadership and the coaching of those 2 teams down here, like the failing Steelers. We've watched their leadership completely fail over the last 4 and 5 years, man.
Yeah, no, it 100% is a leadership thing. And, the leadership's what gets those players to show up on Sundays or during the week. I had this great conversation last week about quarterbacks going and watching tape. They're going to watch tape not to see what they did wrong, but how to predict it in the future. And it's leadership that gets their butts in the seats to watch the damn tape so they then know next time not to pass that ball. And that's the same thing as how do we, do the role playing, get people in the right place so they know when a customer says this, they don't stumble over their feet, throw an interception, and then next thing, it's a complete disaster. And
EOS.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. EOS. It's Gino Wickman. Traction.
Dude, I lost the letters and I could have said it just hit EOS. Got it. EOS.
If you guys out there listening haven't checked any of that stuff out, I highly recommend it. It's really good information on how to run your business.
Actually, got the book right here, man. Let me pop it up.
I had my traction book sitting here for the last week, and then I took it to Arizona with me, and it's actually sitting up beside my bed now.
Yeah, actually, I moved it over into my other room in the bookshelf. But anyway, yeah, man, there's it's like 3 or 4 different reads, but I'm learning about it. I'm learning about being a better leader myself. So.
Well, I mean, but that's what we have to be, and just have to continue to develop and have the desire. I mean, I know the guys in companies have the desire to continue to grow with companies and want to continue to expand within that. I mean, I got out of the Marine Corps and moved into residential construction with zero experience, but a drive and a desire to just continue to get better. And that's what I did. And, you got to find that home to be able to do that. And unfortunately, we just don't have enough places that are opening the doors and want to have that kind of leadership there. I mean, I feel that the tide's changing. I really think that we're going to take the industry back. We're going to change the mindset around it. And there's a shift starting to happen where people understand that the construction industry is more than just a bunch of convicts that can't graduate high school. Because for all too long, that's the reputation we've just been shit on. Like, that's the reputation that we've had, and we've allowed that to be. And I think we should step into not that and let people know that that's not what we are.
Oh, the tides are changing, dude. Just look at the amount of mergers and acquisitions, venture capitalists coming in as columns, both in roofing and in air conditioning. Dude, it's happening. It's been happening for the last few years. They're understanding the amount of money and profitability and margins in this industry, and they are now here, and they are absorbing and connecting and bringing all those people under shells, man.
Yeah, I mean, the profits and margins are crazy with.
Yeah, but let's not tell the customers. Let's not tell the customers.
Well, I mean,
any customers listen to this? There no contractors are making anything on that fucking roofing job. You hear me?
The problem is most of them aren't. I say it's the only industry where you can have somebody driving a brand new truck that doesn't even understand their numbers. And the only reason is because the numbers are good.
Oh, I know, man.
So what, as this shift continues to happen, what do you forecast is going to happen in the industry? Is it going to become really consolidated where we have some just huge entities that are pretty much running the entire industry? Where's that leave the mom and pops and the guys out there that are one-man operations that's subbing everything out? What do you think that future looks like?
I think it's awesome, right? It's capitalism at its best. It already exists in other industries, so who gives a shit, right? So I think I've got a podcast coming up and after. It's ironically enough, I typically don't know what the questions are, but he sent me a bunch of them. Whatever. But so anyway, that was one of his questions is, hey, what do you see in the future, man? Well, I don't have the fortune ball here to tell you exactly what's going to happen. But however, I still believe, and I'm going to say the same thing on his podcast, that if you get really good at doing what you do and taking care of your customers in your local market, then you ain't got to worry about anything about the big companies, right? So I call it the Truman Bubble effect, Truman Bubble marketing, where you take one zip code and you own it, you dominate. That there isn't a freaking house that doesn't know that you're in business, whether you're in air conditioning or generators or plumbing or electric or fucking painting or kitchen floors or roofing. pools, cleaning, I don't care, lawnscaping, it doesn't matter what it is. You take that freaking zip code and you Truman bubble the living hell out of it. Act like you can't work in any other freaking zip code but that one. And then once you've developed all the systems and the processes of customer service, getting 5-star reviews, networking, referring, door knocking, geofencing, all the different things you should be doing, yard signing, there for the install, walk through with the foreman at the end, asking for the 5-star review, doing the video testimonial, putting your 5x5x10 out there through the Lead Scout program and Blue Pages, like doing all the things you got to do. You're going to dominate. So it doesn't matter who you're competing with. That's the Walmart, right? Or the Amazon. You're the specialized professional in that zip code that people know, like, trust, and remember. People do business with people that they know, like, trust, and more importantly, remember. They can know, like, and trust you, but if they don't fucking remember you, it ain't worth shit. They got to remember your name. They got to remember how awesome you treated them. They got to remember how good you are so they can tell people at church, school, and work that you're the guy. So I think by dialing in, market big and small at the same time, dominate. And once you've developed your systems and processes within your Truman bubble, why not open up to 33442 after you've dominated 33441? Now you can hire and you can scale and you can take your 2 Truman bubbles because you've dominated. Before you know it, you got the county. So I think things will always change. You're always going to have efficiencies because they can buy the product cheaper and all that shit. It's not going to stop you from being the best person that you are inside of your local market. I think even me, man, with a software company, I think too big sometimes. Instead of thinking, this is what I do. This is what I do really, really well. Here I am. Stay in my box. But I'm also good at this. Stay in your box. But I'm really good at stay in your fucking box. Right? That's what I think, man. That's just my thought. It's my humble opinion, and I'm going to stick to it.
Yeah, I think that's a great opinion. It really, a lot of times comes down to just staying in your box and understanding that and being really, really, really good at it. I think that's what in construction we're really good at. It's like we do that. Like companies do that. Look at all the different specialties of all that's what creates a success is because a roofer is really good at roofing and he stays in that box. It starts to become a problem for everybody when they get outside of that box without fully understanding what they're doing when they get outside of that box. So I think that's a great analogy and a great way to look at the future.
True story. I had a guy reach out to me yesterday. He's on the Blue Pages and he goes, "Hey, Chris, I can't find my listing." I was like, "Okay, I'll go find it for you. I happen to build the software. I mean, I know a little bit about this." Turns out I couldn't find him either. Do you know why? Because he was the jack of all and the master of none. He was doing custom carpentry, painting, this and that. He had like 6 assets chosen as what he does. So I couldn't find him. I ended up going into the program, putting the zip code in and finding him through the back door. If I knew what his business name was and what asset he installed, I would have clicked roofing 33219 and found him in 1 second. That is a fine note on a guy that's trying to do way too much. Kitchen remodels, painting, plumbing, dude, it was crazy. I went to his website and I was confused. And I sent him a long email saying, "Buddy, we need to clean this up." And that ain't my freaking job. But here, what is my job is going, holy shit, we got to get you focused, man, or else you're going to get eaten up alive. And there's a lot of guys in this industry, you know them as well, that are doing so much instead of doing something so good and so just fucking so amazing that people are just knocking on the door saying, "Man, I need you to do X, Y, Z." Like, yeah, man, crazy shit.
I love it. And I think that's a great way to sum this conversation up today is, you just figure out what you're doing, and you care so much that's not even your job, but you have that conversation, because that's what really matters. That's what champions do, is they get in there and they help bring others up to that level when they're not coherent, that they could even be standing there. So thank you, Chris. Thank you for being here today. If the listeners want to find you, where's the best way to reach out to you?
Well, Chris Scoville at Facebook. I think that's one way. You probably can't miss me if you're in the trades. Another way is ChristopherScoville.com. So that's the full legal name, ChristopherScoville.com. I think we'll probably put a link in below.
Absolutely.
I also have the Contractor Coffee Shop, which is a private group on Facebook. That's Contractor Coffee Shop, where I host live trainings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on how to help businesses grow and learn and do cool things. Those trainings cost absolutely nothing, and there's a whole guide section in there. And then, of course, we'll put my software link in there too. So it's Chris Scoville on Facebook, ChristopherScoville.com. I'll put the private group for the Contractor Coffee Shops. You can join us over there. And then I'll put the software link. Love to have you on the BluePagesPro.
Hey, awesome, Chris. Thank you for being here, and thank you for everything that you do for the industry. What you're doing on your Facebook page is absolutely amazing. Like you said, it's all completely free. Well, like what we've done in the past and what we continue to do on Construction Champions is we bring people on that truly have the heart for the industry and want to see this move forward. They want to help you be better every day at what you do. And that's getting you down maybe sometimes to figuring out exactly what that is that you should be doing. So, Construction Champions, until next time, it has been great.